Is it true? Is BrickWiz building a mock again? Are we building Legos again? Yes and no. We are going to be introducing the mock build mini series here on the channel, but it's going to have kind of a unique twist. Now, you guys know I started my channel out with building mocks. I built Scarif, Kessel, Anaxis, Raxus, actually 5 of them, which is pretty cool. Raxus was my most recent build. I finished that a little under a year ago. I brought it to Brick Fair, Virginia. So that was the last mock I made. And up until this point, there's been no mocks. There's been no building. There's basically just been videos. Obviously, I've also just gotten super busy with outside of YouTube stuff, with jobs and other awesome stuff. But I want to bring back mock building because, to be honest, I kind of miss it. Now, we've mostly, up until now at least, focused on Star Wars mocks, Star Wars videos, reviews. Obviously, if I get sets from Lego that are a little different, I'll make videos on those too, but for the most part, we are a Star Wars centered channel. And up until now, all of the mocks, like I just mentioned, have been Star Wars. So of course that kind of gets you thinking, what's the next mock? Now, to be honest, the lack of inspiration from Star Wars is the primary reason why I haven't built any mocks. I mean, there's been plenty of Star Wars content since last summer, but I'm just not particularly drawn to any of them. Like, for instance, when I wanted to build Scarif, I built that mock twice actually. I saw it in the trailer and I was like, hey, I want to build that, and I knew that I wanted to build that, and I knew I had a natural drive to just build something that I loved. And to be honest, from recent Star Wars at least, there's nothing that has caught my eye like that. So of course that gets me thinking, well, what have I seen in the past maybe year or two that I have a huge passion for, that I would love to build maybe as a side project, as a passion project? And that brings me back to the mock which we're building, which is going to be about Top Gun Maverick. Now, I know, not Star Wars, but don't freak out yet. Like I said, this is going to be a bit of a passion project. But if you guys saw my content from last year, right around like June, right around this time actually, I did end up building one of the custom fighter jets. I saw the movie, and you know, I made my love for Top Gun very clear. I've seen that movie specifically a crazy amount of times now, and it got me thinking. I was like, hey, I love this movie. I love Lego. Let's see if we can kind of combine those into one. And so we're actually going to be building a scene from Top Gun Maverick. Now, I think this is pretty cool, but like I said, this is going to be a passion project, so I get if you guys are like, oh, it's not Star Wars, blah, 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 blah. You know, I get that. I respect that. But listen, this is something I want to build, something I want to have fun with. So, of course, if you guys are willing to come along this journey with me and want to see what it's going to turn out to, obviously, you guys can subscribe with that bell icon on. That way you don't miss any of the videos that are coming up. So, 2 things. Before we get into one of them, which is what are we building, the second thing is the structure of this quote-unquote series. Now, up until now, we've done weekly episodes or bi-weekly episodes. We're basically going to be doing this new mini-series in a format of I will make a video when I have something to make a video about. I'm not going to pressure myself to put out a video every single week and build when I don't want to, because if I'm being honest, that sometimes takes the fun out of Lego and building, which might have been a reason why I stopped building for a while. So we're going to make videos whenever they come up. I will say that this mock will be on display at Brick Fair, Virginia, over at the Empire Lug booth. So of course, if you guys are in the area, want to stop by, check it out. Also, there's also going to be tons of other mock builders and YouTubers in the space at Brick Fair, pretty much everyone. So you guys should definitely come around. So regardless, you guys should definitely come out and take a look. But the second thing, of course, is what are we building? Now, if you guys haven't seen the movie, this might not be as exciting, but for me it is. This image right here is a rough idea of kind of what we're going for. So there's basically this end, this end big battle that they're all going into, and this is kind of like all of the people, all of the fighter jets kind of moving into one formation. Basically, there's a couple of iconic features I want to capture about this, but it's also important to keep in mind that, when working with Lego in a confined space, obviously I'm not going to be able to build all of this exactly to scale. That would just take way too much time and pieces, which I just don't have. So there's basically going to be like the lake in the foreground. Of course, you're going to have one jet. These jets are huge, and they take up like almost 2 full gray base plates, so it's pretty massive. But you're gonna have the lake, the jet on the lake, and then of course like the snow embankment, the shore that comes between the snow and the river, excuse me, and then also the trees in the background and cool stuff like that. So that's kind of like a rough estimate of what's going to be included. Again, we have about 2 to 3 months now before Brick Fair happens, so I think we're going to stick with either a 4x2 size gray base plate mock or 4x3, again, depending on how much time we have. But yeah, what I want to do next is actually show you guys the progress we made so far, and then there's also going to be some footage of us working on what is like the main focus of this first week, which is the trees. So let's go ahead and cut to that. Alrighty, so this is what we have going so far. So we'll first start off with giving you an idea of how big we're working with. So we have 3 gray base plates right here, and in terms of how deep it is 4 base plates. So like I said before, we're working with either a 3x2 So basically these two columns or a third one additionally as well. So again, not sure how feasible this is given the restrictions of time before Brick Fair, but we're going to work and kind of see what works best, and we'll kind of, I guess, just play this as it goes. But here is a general outline of the mock so far. So the empty gray areas right here before the trees, this is probably all going to be that river. I have a lot of transparent dark tiles and pieces and plates we're going to use for that, so I have a pretty good idea of how that's going to look. Should be super easy. It's just going to be really repetitive, which is going to be boring, but of course the main idea here is that we're going to have, you know, the fighter jet on this lake. We're going to have maybe like some transparent white pieces in the back to create that engine, you know, forces that are coming out onto the water and stuff like that. So that should look pretty cool. The part that we wanted to focus on this week were the trees, and these things look really cool. There's a lot of them. I have a lot of pieces, definitely not going to be a concern, but there is about 5 trees to each of these 32 by 32 plates in terms of like the spacing and all that kind of stuff. I think that's how often we're going to have trees. And you can also see here, I also have elevated the plate right here just again to kind of represent the gradual change in elevation of the landscape, which we'll work on. So there's going to be a whole nother column of trees going right there, and then maybe even some more here, and then maybe like more on the top in the bottom corner over there. So that's a very general idea, but these trees actually take a considerable amount of time to build. I'm going to break these down and how they actually come together in just a minute, but for an entire base plate, it actually takes about a full hour to do all of this work, which isn't terrible. So basically an hour times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then obviously other stuff mixed in. So in terms of how much time it takes, it is a lot of time, but I think this technique that I found looks really good. So what I want to do next is actually explain to you how these trees are made, where I found them, where I found the design, and kind of go from there. All right, so this is where I found this tree design. I'll put up image right now on your screen of where I found it. I think I found this design maybe like 6 or 8 months ago when I initially had the idea to kind of build this. And so the idea here is making these sort of like evergreen-esque trees. And there's a lot of different ways and techniques you can do that, but I wanted to do something a little different. Obviously, I don't think I'm good enough to design these trees on my own. So I scoured the internet looking for different ideas for inspiration, and I came across this specific design, and I'll leave a link down below in the description because I want to make sure you guys know full well who actually came up with this design. But what's super unique about this design compared to other trees you might have seen is that you're actually interlocking and weaving the leaf pieces together and letting gravity kind of do the rest. So I'll explain super fast. Basically, you just start off with using a bunch of 2x2 round brick. You could use any different variation of this. It kind of really doesn't matter. The next part is also just adding like a huge Technic axle rod just right down the middle. Again, this is just going to add some extra stability for your trees, less wobble, you know, less of a likely chance they're going to, I guess, fall over and break on you, I guess. So once you have a decent height, what you'll basically want to start doing is start weaving and interlocking leaves together, as you guys can kind of see here. It's very important that you're actually starting with a larger number of leaves and then gradually going up to a smaller number. So the base, you know, the bottom of the tree is going to be wider, so you're going to have maybe 8 or 9 leaf pieces, and then as you work your way to the top, you're kind of knocking off a number of leaf stem pieces in each row. So ideally, you'll have a huge stack of 9 leaves together, and then 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and then so on and so forth. Now, this part right here, interlocking all of the leaf pieces, is by far the most time-consuming part, and it is worth mentioning that, you know, you are going to have to slightly bend some of the leaf pieces. So if you're super fixated on like not damaging or bending your leaf pieces, this might not be the technique for you, but I think this looks by far the best, so it's very much worth it to me. So once you have all these pieces, once you have the full stem, the trunk of the tree, and all your different leaf bundles, what you basically do is just kind of plop them down. Again, the largest and biggest number of leaf bundle is going to be at the very bottom, and then as you work your way towards the top, you're going to have a smaller and smaller amount of leaves just to kind of give it that natural evergreen, like triangular shape as you go upwards on the side of the tree. And then once you're good with that, you'll just have some pieces added on the top. You also have this like 3-leaf bundle, which kind of makes the point a little more natural, and then that's pretty much it. Like I said, in terms of how much time this actually takes, that the weaving of the leaves is by far the most time-consuming part of it, but I think it just looks absolutely amazing. I mean, you guys can definitely take a look for yourselves. This might not be a technique that you particularly like, but I think for what I'm going for and for how much time, and also having to keep in mind the transporting of this entire mock, I think this is a super easy to use design, which I'm really happy I found. So hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully it looks good. Again, links are down below in the description. description if you guys want to go ahead and check out the original post and the creator who actually came up with this design. It's super, super sweet, and I love it. So, yeah. So, all in all, I think this is a pretty good update number 1. Usually our week 1 videos for the mock series is just like all planning and drawing and stuff like that. Of course, I kind of wanted to just jump into this mock series just because, again, we're not going to be making weekly updates. I don't know how many videos we're going to make, but overall, I'm loving the way it's coming out so far. I think the outline fits perfectly, and I'm really excited to just kind of keep building and see where this goes, really. So I appreciate you guys for the support, as always. Drop a like down below if you guys are excited for the series, or if you guys have any, ideas or tips or anything like that we can include for this mock. I'm super excited for how this is going to turn out. So hopefully this is a fun mock series, but let's go ahead and jump to the outro of the video. Well, if I'm being honest, it is super great to be back making these mock style videos. Again, this new format that I'm going with, which isn't new by any means, but new to me is just, making videos when I want to. To be completely honest with you guys, sometimes, many times, when working on these mocks and having to put out a video every single week, obviously when I was still in school or part-time employed, obviously now I have a full-time sort of job, so that would take the fun out of it a lot when I just make myself build for the sake of making a video. And so what I want to do now and just going forward is just kind of do what I want to do and do what, makes me enjoy the hobby more, and hopefully doesn't get me nearly burned out as fast. So I hope you guys are somewhat excited for this. Again, I know it's not Star Wars, I know it's not something that we're super used to here on the channel, but if you guys are super excited for it, or you're interested at least to see how bad this mock's going to turn out, you guys could, of course, stay tuned and keep up to date with these videos. I anticipate at least 2 more videos after this one as a part of this series. Obviously, again, when these videos come out, they'll come out. You guys will see posts about them, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, if you guys are excited, make sure you drop a like. Again, don't miss any of these videos coming up. There's still a bunch of awesome other videos we're working on. Obviously, if you guys are excited for the new upcoming series, make sure you drop a like down below, and let me know in the comments also, just like, what are your thoughts? I mean, if you don't want to tell me what your thoughts are, you could always just tell me, like, what do you have for dinner or stuff like that. But that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy. Peace.